Ernest here. Today I've got a awesome ginger plant that I've started inside over winter. So all I did is buy a big rhizome and get this rectangular tub, lay it in here. It was a little bit mouldy when I bought it. It was quite expensive. It was about $10 Australian, which was a fairly decent, probably like the size of my arm. And I think it's in 3 pieces. And it had it on the heat mat inside with some dim lighting as well. It's sort of somewhat struggling on this side, but in the middle it's done pretty well. And then on this side, we've got another one here. Now, I haven't done this before, so it's a little bit experimental. I'm going to divide it up, and that may include, I reckon I will prune it. Now, I've got this bag of the sandy mix that I always talk about. And then in here, this is just some compost that was just under my tree. So it was just a mix of wood chips that I would have laid down. See, I've got to get rid of these rocks, but I just scooped some of that up. But I should have used 3 different containers, but I'll put that on top. Underneath that, I've got some rabbit manure. I'm going to get to it, so you can start to see there's rabbit manure there. There's rabbit manure. Tip that out. And under that is some proper compost that I've made. There's still got a bit of rabbit manure left in it, but you can see that's proper compost that I've made, and I've sieved that through a 1/2-inch sieve. So we're going to mix that into this this potting mix, and that will give some fertility without having to buy any get rid of any main large rocks. But yeah, I don't have to buy any fertilizers. See, like, there's a seashell from when I've grabbed seaweed. That's kind of cool. Give it some minerals. So this stuff here, high fertility. It's got some soil life in it still from the compost. And I'm going to carefully, lift this a little bit up one-handed, and we're going to tip that in there and see what we've got. I'm going to pause the camera and I'll hit play once I've taken the ginger out of this. So I've shaken the contents out. Now I'm glad I'm glad I'm done this when I did, because what I found is actually the water wasn't draining very well. It actually smells, which that's quite bad for your plants. So it's good that I've got to it when I did. I think ginger's going to be prone to rot if it sits in boggy soil. So hopefully this hasn't rotted. But you can see I'm going to have a couple of different plants. This is going to be the main one. I might divide it in the middle, so I'll see how it goes. I don't want to disturb the roots too much. So I've got a couple of ideas. I'm going to try one of these big self-watering pots. I don't know whether that will get too boggy. I'm going to try that, and then I'll try a couple of other types of pots. Now in Tasmania, I think it's best to grow ginger indoors or under, like, in a porch, and then you might need to move it inside over winter possibly, because it is a tropical plant. But it's a lot of fun, and if you do get a yield, you know, it's going to be a high value type of plant. So I'm going to pause again, and I'm going to grab one of the pots. So I've emptied out the ginger out of this and divided it. Here's the self-watering pot. Used a mix of that Plants Plus potting mix and my own compost and rabbit manure that I had. Filled that up. I don't know how it's going to go. I get a bad feeling that it could end up boggy down low, so I don't know. I think it should be watered very sparingly in that pot. This one here, this pot has holes at the bottom. So this one here, obviously it's going to need more maintenance, but it might be better suited. This one's slightly smaller, but not much. So they were the 2 off the best bit that I divided. I did find, this is the leftover bits that I've planted. Don't know how they're going to go. One part actually had rotted because the water was too boggy, and some of the ginger had rotted, and I cut the rotted part away. So one of these is a piece of rotten ginger, and I just salvaged what's left. I'll put an update soon. Like I said, northwest Tassie is not the place to grow ginger, but growing in a microclimate bring it inside over winter. We'll see how it goes. Just for the sake of the video, I have managed to grow this pineapple outside since 2019, so it's survived 2 winters now. I'll be really excited if I finally get a fruit off this. I probably should feed it. It's probably my main problem. I just let it sit there, and I pretty much neglect it. I only water it every now and then. So we'll see how it goes.